Hey everyone, Angelo here, Hollywood filmmaker, greatest screenwriter in the history of the world, recovering hobo. I walked in a frame because I have my phone turned around, so I'm filming on the back side of it, and the image is not mirrored, which always annoys me. Want to give an update, haven't filmed a video in proper in a while. Living here in Hollywood, well, in Los Angeles, outside of Hollywood, but doing a ton of writing. I'm back in classes. I had a very short break between classes, doing a lot of bike riding. I'm exhausted, but I love it. My legs are being built up. Very busy, trying to read a lot, and every day is different. Every day is like providing a different view into the activity I'm doing. Writing is a different activity for me every day. I have to be disciplined about it. I hate when I like get disciplined about it and then I think I don't have to be as diligent today about writing it because I wrote so much even earlier today or yesterday, whatever the case. I always do that to myself. But I'm making really good progress just as far as in my classes, how I'm learning. I'm repeating a class I took last semester, even though I don't strictly speaking have to. They'll let me move on if I want to, but I didn't get as much as I wanted out of the class. I really want to be dedicated to it, and now I'm going all out for it. I've already been hearing the fireworks going off in my neighborhood. LA loves fireworks. They're illegal here, and I've never been anywhere that's detonated as many all year round as I have seen in LA. I went to Ciclavia recently in South LA. That was awesome. I've been doing more group bike rides lately. I look forward to doing more. I'm really busy, so it's kind of hard to work in to my schedule, but I am riding my bike a lot lately. I got to get new handlebar grips. Mine are literally like dissolving in my hands. Been reading too, reading this book, The Night Manager by John Le Carre. It's a pseudonym, I forget his real name. It's amazing in parts, and then some parts I'm like, why is it so campy? And also, he writes with a great brevity and wit, but sometimes it's so witty, or like it's got so much brevity, it's hard for me to keep track of what the characters are saying because they speak in this specific British kind of, and I've read British books before. I mean, I just read the complete Sherlock Holmes Volume 1, but in this there's like so many dropped words because of that brevity and so many metaphors that both he and the characters use, but he and the characters don't really say their metaphors. They're just like, this is that, and it's kind of hard to keep track of what they're saying. And it may partly just be because the way I'm used to hearing the English language is different from Le Carre, but also it is pretty campy in parts. I mean, my goodness, I'm like, okay, Jonathan Pine is really into this woman, Jed, and he really likes her. And oh, here's how she looks in this light or whatever. It's like throughout the book, like 200 some pages, I'm still reading about how captivated he is by Jed. That's like his only personality trait in a lot of the story, is how much he likes Jed. Anyways, but the moral calculations the characters make and the brutal double lives and betrayals and stuff are amazing, and the bureaucratic decision making that Jonathan Pine's handlers in England have to go about doing, as they're all like having to have their hands bound and double cross each other and double cross their bosses just to try and keep Pine alive and to capture the arms dealer that he's infiltrated himself with, is amazing. But I don't know, something feels like thinly sketched about some of the characters. Hey, I'm not saying I could do better, but it's a really cool book. And I've got some more Le Carre novels. I just heard like it sounded like steam running. It's someone in my neighborhood running water, I guess, like a hose. I was thinking lately about how the Baptist church never got back to me when I told them how their pastor, who died last May, William Wagner, that I lived with for a month, sexually harassed me. And I said, he's obviously got other victims. He was a sick man. He had this compulsive acting out that was absurd. I made other videos about how he treated me And I really processed just how disturbing some of that was more recently, even though it's been about 10 years since he did that. I was an adult when I moved in with him. I lived with him for a month. He knew to take advantage of someone like me. I had just left my home the same day my brother attacked me, like a month earlier, and I had him charged with assault and battery. I stayed on a friend's couch for a month, among some other places, and my friend's parents' couch, I should say. He lived with his parents. And moved in with this pastor when I barely had any money. Lived with him for a month. Wanted to get the hell out because he asked if he could get in the shower with me. He kept asking to go to dinner and lunch with me. He kept hanging around me while I was in the kitchen making breakfast. And then he left out hand-drawn pornography for me to find. He was a disgusting, vile creep. And he also told me he put his son in the hospital because his son was gay to try and make him straight. So I know this guy is incredibly sick and warped. And yeah, he died, but I emailed one church that his obituary said he worked at, and then another church that their name was mentioned in there. I forget in what connection it was, but I emailed both of them about him. Nobody responded. I don't even know if these emails are active. I don't know if anybody at the Baptist church cares one bit. I don't see why they should in a way. I'm like, yeah, that's what churches are for. They're for power and covering up weirdos like this guy. And yeah, some good work, some ostensibly God, this, God, that. It's funny how much work churches have to do to portray this made-up mythic thing, God and Christianity and all that, all these fables and myths stitched together in the Bible over centuries, and do their absolute utmost to make it seem like it's a real thing, when in reality, it's still just like a theatrical production they're putting together every week, and they want you to look at this art and look at this story and keep having it ingrained in you that this is real. Oh, it's absolutely real. It's real, but we can't see it. It's not here. There's no evidence, no credible evidence for it. Doesn't really make sense. It's obviously fabricated and pieced together by many different sources. If you're not completely indoctrinated into it as a kid, it's very hard to get yourself to buy into it as an adult. And I'm amazed at how much this has turned for me in that Christianity, specifically Catholicism, when I was younger. I went to Catholic schools, but I was raised Greek Orthodox, went to Greek Orthodox churches and Catholic churches in school. How much that had a grip on me and affected me for decades. And now that I'm 38, just how remote and distant it seems, and my changing thoughts on life and my own mortality and my view of all this stuff, and how it's always sort of had an effect on me, but now I can sort of put it in its proper context, as sometimes it can be an interesting thing to study, like this mythical story, or these mythical stories, plural, full of like these creatures and demons and whatever other deities, and I don't know what they call them. Not all just like angels, demons, but like these supernatural elements or entities, I should say, that are battling with each other and have all these different rules. But it stops being that interesting when you get into the sick stuff that they teach. Anyways, any of you Baptists want to claim William Wagner as your trash? Does anybody like the idea of getting some responsibility for making sure perverts like him are no longer in your church? Yeah, he's dead, but he was able to operate for a very long time. He was 97. He was able to get away with a lot, I'm sure. And I'm sure he had other victims. If at 89, did I say 87 or 97? Just to be clear, he was 97 when he died, according to the obituary I read. But he was 89 when I lived with him, and he was being a creep to me. That told me he had decades of practice. It was so gross. And he was doing this with other guys too, and went through sexual harassment last year for 6 months. It was a living hell from someone else, and it sort of made me see this thing as different again, and really brought chills to me, as far as like, I was talking to a therapist about it, and I was telling her how he left out hand-drawn pornography for me to find, and she's like, wow, that's like some serial killer stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't quite think of it like that. Like, as far as how he was stalking me in a way, and like using his house and his power that he had to try and dominate me. And think about it, if I ever confronted him about that, he would have been furious, right? Because he's denying this whole part of himself. He was so homophobic. Anyways, Baptist Church, collect your trash. You know, own up to the fact that you had this horrible, abusive pastor in your church. And anyways, I could spin off about this all day. My writing's going well. I'm learning a lot. That was a rapid gear shift. And I'm super excited because Alex Proyas, one of my favorite filmmakers, boy, it's almost too wide a shift to talk about him, someone I respect so much and whose films I love, and a garbage person that I don't even, to say garbage person, that's like downplaying what he was. He engaged in terrible behavior. But anyways, I'll do a quick thing about this. I should make a separate video for this too, but I want to let people know I'm so excited because Alex Proyas, who's been giving away so much free content over the years on social media and his YouTube channel, like these film masterclasses that he's done, he's started a Patreon where he's going to provide like podcasts, Q&As, behind the scenes stuff. He's taking our input, the fans who have joined his Patreon page to donate monthly, which of course I did right away, and I was so excited for him to do it. He's created this page so he can have a more direct connection to the people who really like substantively want to support him and be connected with him and inform him and let him inform us, and we can share with each other our art. And not only that, our like philosophy of art, our writing, like develop our own filmmaking with each other. And it's not just for filmmakers, like there are fans of his who are on there. For me, I'm looking at this as, yeah, not just I'm a fan, but now I'm like a collaborator, or I'm a peer, or I'm another artist on their way in their filmmaking journey. And this is going to inspire me and educate me, and it's going to be something I want to follow because he's also creating a new model of funding and I suppose distributing films as well. He's got his own streaming site, but I want to see like what else he has planned for this because it's all still relatively new. He's built a virtual studio. He's using AI now to help shape the concept art for his movies. He's not like fully just making stuff in AI, but he's basically using prompts to like help like get an idea of images he wants to make, and then getting it over to artists who will then do more work on it to create the image that he wants. Sometimes he's feeding in images that he's already made partially, and sometimes it seems like he's fabricating stuff, but then getting an artist with 3D software or whatever the case, I don't know, Photoshop, to create a more finished look. It's still not like totally finished, I suppose, in a lot of cases, but what he's sharing with us is really exciting. It's concept art for new projects he's making, multiple new films, and it's creating worlds for film that make filmmaking so much more affordable, accessible, more environmentally friendly. Depends on the film and all. He likes to create worlds that don't exist, but that's not necessarily the case in all his films, and I won't get into the details, but if you join his Patreon, and I know money's tight for a lot of people, so don't join it if, it's going to be a strain on you. I'm lucky that it's not. So if you're into that, if you want to follow his process, support him, and you're kind of supporting, I don't want to just say me, but like all the other filmmakers who are following him, I have for over 20 years, who want to be part of this new model of filmmaking where we can make bold, like visionary films, but we can do it on low budgets, and the tools can be accessible for it, and we can do it relatively quickly compared to, a process of like, say, learning all 3D modeling and compositing and all that, and getting our films seen and having them be financially viable. But it's more than just even that. It's seeing his philosophy of filmmaking and his creation process, and just getting the fun of getting to share ideas and communicate with us. And he takes inspiration from viewers as well, especially as far as like what he's going to show on Patreon. He's been asking for people's input. So again, check it out, Alex Proyas on Patreon. I like that he's done this because he's given away so much free content over the years. He's built up fans online for now like decades, because he used to have a website where he did this. And after giving away so much free content, I see why he's doing the Patreon. It's because on Facebook and other social media, lots of people would follow him, but first of all, not lots of people would get his posts because the algorithms control that. But also, and they would restrict who they reach, but also they weren't really, I guess he didn't feel like he could be as go in deep into the topics he liked about filmmaking with his fans, and also that his fans and supporters would not even see the messages. And in my case, I just got off social media for the most part. Pretty much the only reason I would be on was to see what he would post. And so I'm glad he's on Patreon now, because even for me, it just kind of, it's like going wide on social media, but not going deep. And on Patreon, he has fewer supporters, but he can go deeper with them. And I like that I can go deeper with, you know, my relationship with him and his work, and the other fans can as well. And we can all learn from each other. It's not just him. I get to see what other people say, their questions, their input on things he's posting, and what he's revealing about his process of creating these films, which for me is a dream. Like, I could only dream of this decades ago when I was watching his movies, like 20 years ago, watching Dark City, and then catching up with his other movies as well. Dark City I saw easily like 20, 30 times. Anyways, so that's great to see. It opens up new possibilities. So I'm trying to stay busy, trying to eat well. I gained a few pounds. So trying to now go into a cut for a few weeks. Stay active. Going to go for a walk today. Did some burpees. Going to finish The Night Manager. Pretty cool. And I also have, what is it up there? A Legacy of Spies and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy by John Le Carre, if I pronounced that right. It's got the accent over the E, right? So that's got to be it. It's got to be correct. But anyways, if you're like-minded like me, you want to check out what Alex is doing, great, go support. If not, there's no pressure. You don't need to do it for me. I'm just telling people who might be interested and have the means to. Again, right now, we're in dire straits in so much of the country as far as people's finances, their ability to survive. So, unfortunately, or fortunately, there is this option there to get in a deeper relationship with one of your, if you're like me, one of your favorite filmmakers, or one of my favorite filmmakers at least, and join this community. But also, yeah, it's behind a paywall, and I think Alex made the right choice in doing this. I think being able to directly support artists you like as a patron, and a Patreon, is a great way of, fostering more art and whatever else, the careers of the artists you support, filmmakers, writers, singers, whoever. But obviously it does put a barrier on certain people being able to do it, and I can speak to that because I was broke for years. I was homeless for years. So so anyways, it's there if you can do it, and if you want it, it'll be there if you want to join a later point, and then you can see all the past posts as well. So anyways, that's what I'm thinking lately, is try and be well, try and focus on my filmmaking, my writing, get plenty of sleep. That's been a challenge lately. And keep hydrated, man. I go through water like it's water, and I got to keep drinking water. If you do that right, oh, okay, I'll wait. Anyways, everyone, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Baptist Church, what the hell, man? But yeah, I got to make a separate, I just went on the whole tangent about Alex Proyas and what he's doing on Patreon. But anyways, and after talking about that dirty son of a bitch pastor, it's like a totally different topic. But that's my life lately, is dealing with this ugly stuff, and then also this stuff I find so inspiring and wonderful. And I'd rather let that be the thing that, most informs me or uplifts me, or is able to, keep my whatever you would call it. I don't know. I don't want to say just keep my attention, but what most informs me is the stuff that inspires me, and not the dark stuff that is disturbing and pathetic. So, anyways, there is good stuff going on. My writing's going well. It's got to keep going, and I'm looking forward to what the possibilities are. Oh, we're still being evicted in my apartment, so I'm going to have to move out. Don't really know yet, but that's coming. So we're waiting to see when it goes to court, because by around then I know we're going to get evicted. So we don't, or the guy I rent from doesn't really have a case. I don't think. I don't know. He's confident he does. I don't know. It reminds me of Johnny Boy from. Was that his name, Johnny Boy from Mean Streets? So let me know what you think. Go watch an Alex Proyas film. Why don't you watch Dark City and watch Knowing and Gods of Egypt, and then go through the rest of them too. How many of the other ones are there? I, Robot, The Crow, Spirits of the Air, Gremlins of the Clouds. Oh, and Garage Days. And go support whatever filmmakers that maybe not just independent filmmakers, but past ones that are making bold films, foreign filmmakers. Go support, like get a literacy in a broad array of filmmaking. Don't limit yourself to just one type. I've been trying to find all kinds of different stuff. Sometimes I'm like, not so great what I found. Sometimes it just mesmerizes me. It blows me away. And you may find that too. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I gotta walk behind the camera now, or behind the phone, and stop recording. All right. Click like, all that stuff. Subscribe. Bye.